How's it going, guys? Mark Tangeman from Tangeman Training Systems here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about our exercise prescription for upper body power movements. Our previous video touched a little bit on the exercise selection that we do and how we kind of narrow it down on a three-step basis there. And so now we're going to talk about some of the load, volume, and rest intervals that we implement with our athletes. So as far as load goes, we have a pretty wide range. So we do anything from bodyweight ballistic repeat movements all the way up to 70-75% of 1 RM on a bench press if needed. It kind of depends on the specificity of the athlete, where they're at, and more often than not, it's going to be based off of what we're trying to improve, which is why a baseline testing measurement is so important, and you have to understand what you're trying to improve before you just scattershot everything out there trying to improve generic power. So depending on where that measurement is or what we want to improve, we could be on the heavier side, we could be on the lighter side, we could be somewhere in between, or we could be a combination of both. It just depends on the athlete. Now, as far as the volume goes, we usually stick pretty simple. We have 1 to 6 sets and reps for a variation of different movements. Again, it's going to depend whether that's more of a grinding movement, whether it's a higher percentage of what they're trying to lift, more of a force dominant profile versus more of a velocity dominant profile, where it's body weight or body weight-esque. And then the rest intervals that we use, anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. Doesn't have to be crazy. A lot of athletes really struggle getting to 5 minutes, so if you're gonna prescribe a 5-minute rest interval, you better have something actively for them to do, or they're gonna get bored and jump into the next set before you know it. Understand that regardless of what people in ivory towers tell you, training is not as cut and dry or as black and white as they like to make it out to be. There's a lot of variation that goes into it, even on a daily basis. So you have to understand what is important and what is maybe not as important or not as effective in your training program. This kind of comes back to that push the ceiling, pull the floor method that we had talked about in one of our previous videos for training considerations. We keep that implemented with all of our programs, regardless of what we're trying to do. That ensures that we're hitting some markers that we need to hit while still maintaining certain qualities and keeping things basic, and so we're still getting stuff done even if we don't improve at a drastic rate. Those are just some of the things to consider when you're looking at upper body power and prescribing that for your athletes, whatever it may be. So hopefully that helps.